I'm telling you now, Anthony Joshua come back and get the win if he changes the tactics. It's not an impossible ask, and everybody's saying Usyk's unbelievable, he's XYZ. Usyk is an outstanding fighter. He's an average cruiser, southpaw, but he's an outstanding magician that's in front of you.
What do you mean an average
He's
southpaw?
no average southpaw.
Oh, come on. I'm telling you now,
No,
I can pick you southpaws
An
now.
average southpaw.
Southpaw. But what I'm saying is, but his boxing IQ, where he's moving left to right, he's making you work under pressure. I can give you a handful of fighters, not right now, that are southpaws that you think, right, that guy's working his southpaw magic. I'm telling you now, Anthony Joshua, we're going to have the same backlash. We're going to have the same argument. Anthony
enough
Joshua
if you think Anthony
can
Joshua
come
wins
back
the rematch.
and turn this
And
over.
Anthony Joshua didn't utilise his tools, of course, his
No,
jab,
but my
his
problem
power,
is- my
whatever.
problem is this.
Don't take anything away from Alexander
Yeah,
Usyk's
but my
performance, which was
my problem is
phenomenal,
this.
and he's going to be a big favourite going into
my
the rematch.
problem is this.
And he's a brilliant southpaw,
my problem-
and he is a
my problem is
phenomenal
this. My
fighter,
problem is this.
and probably pound for pound one or two
But
at
my
the
problem
moment.
is this.
I've
Everybody's
got to
jumping.
go. I can't listen to this anymore.
Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of Alexander Usyk. Oh my God, he's unbelievable. He's outstanding. Everybody's beatable. That's what he said about Lomachenko until he lost. That's
Come
what
back. I want to hear more. I've come back.
Okay,
What are you
let's
saying
go
now?
back. That's what he said about Lomachenko until he lost.
Hang on a
Hold
minute.
on. And
Lomachenko.
that's what you were saying about Lomachenko.
I still think Lomachenko should have beaten Teofimo Lopez, right?
Did
he? He didn't. And now?
So what I'm saying is, if you devise the right game plan, Anthony Joshua has all the tools to turn this around. And yes, he got outboxed because he tried to play Usyk at Usyk's game.
Anthony's got an
Anthony
excellent
Joshua
jab.
going in there as a
Look.
champion, thinking like a champion, using his natural heavyweight attributes, should
Right.
have pulled it up. But what he did was he tried to fight fire with a bigger fire. He needs to get Usyk to
He
play
tried to
his game.
outbox the boxer.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So he chose the wrong tactics.
Yes, agree with you. And, obviously the way to go about the rematch is definitively
so
to
waiting
use
for
the
this
jab,
rematch again.
to use the power, to use his strength. Of course it is. But Alexander Usyk was absolutely superb last
Because
Saturday
AJ
night.
gifted it him.
What do you mean gifted him?
He gifted because he tried to fight
Usyk got hold of the middle of the ring at the
All right, then
beginning.
what about his whole cruiserweight run then?
He tried to fight Usyk as his own game, so he gifted it in. So that's what I'm saying. He tried to. He played his game plan.
Okay,
he
even
should
if
have got
you
Usyk.
thought he was average on Saturday, and what about his whole
Answer
cruiserweight
me
run?
this one. Do you think Derek Chisora gave Usyk a harder fight
Yeah.
than Anthony Joshua
Yeah.
did? Why is that? Because Derek Chisora used his heavyweight weight, strength, aggression, and pulled him into his fight. He didn't try to outbox him because he was going to get outboxed every day of the week.
Can Joshua do what Derek did?
He can use his weight, he can use his power, he can use his aggression, but he tried to stand up and outbox him to prove everybody wrong, to say, you know what, I can outbox him. Wrong tactics. What I'm saying is he has to change those tactics round to change that result. He
Are
goes
you going to
into
give Alexander Usyk some credit?
Oh no, the guy's a badass. He's a badass. But what I'm saying is,
You said he was an average southpaw.
everybody's getting gassed and saying this guy's unbelievable because AJ, how he outboxed AJ, they're thinking, oh my God, AJ was made for him. He
amateur
gave him
bouts.
exactly what he wanted.
He's the undisputed.
What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe and lick off the bell. So we just heard there from Big Johnny Nelson. Now, at the risk of sounding like if my grandma had a twang, it'd be my granddad. The premise, or not the premise, the bottom line, what Johnny Nelson's saying is listen. And this is what I was trying to say. People have been telling me ever since the Saturday fight. People have been telling me, why Big, stop talking, stop making 30-minute videos and just give Usyk credit. Listen, I will give Usyk credit when he does what he does, when he solves the puzzle of a heavyweight, top 5 heavyweight, coming to win. That's what I'll do. Now again, I'm not blaming Usyk for the fact that AJ was in dire need of some 50 milligram Cialis. No doubt. Yeah? We all know for a fact, we've all got eyes. No one can blame Usyk for the fact that AJ forgot to wake up and take his Cialis. Yeah? No doubt about that. That's on AJ. That's on Rob McCrappen. It's Rob McCrappen and AJ's fault they forgot to take their Cialis when they woke up in the morning with their breakfast. They was floppy. They was soft. Soft as you like they was. 100%. However, it's a bit like when people say, or it's a bit like when people give Peter McNeely credit for beating Mike Tyson. Well, you didn't really beat Mike Tyson, did you? This for me is the same principle here. Yes, you beat a 6'6", Adonis, Africanulese looking ass, but it was a shell. If that makes sense. Yeah, it's a shell. Now if Usyk goes in there again and schools AJ, that won't prove that Usyk's the best heavyweight and super impressive. That won't make Usyk great. That will just mean that AJ is finished essentially. If AJ don't go in there and put effort in and get stuck in, that will prove that AJ's shot and he's no good. That still won't validate Usyk. Usyk won't be validated as all these great things until we see him go in there against someone coming to win. Because I've said, how many years have I said it? Even more than skill. Often in sport, yes, skill's important, but especially in boxing, heart and dig deep. I mean, look at Nigel Benn when he fought McLennan. McLennan had the power, the speed, everything. Yeah, Nigel Benn got knocked out of the ring. He had to climb back in the ring. McLennan knocked him out of the ring, literally. That's how hard McLennan was punching. He wasn't no joke. He looked like the 140-pound, or whatever weight it was, 160-pound, real Deontay Wilder. Yeah? One of the last few guys down there who had nasty power, to be honest. My point is, that shows how much of a premium heart comes with. It's no good having a 6'6" wrecking train with zero heart and zero oomph and no Cialis. That's good for nothing, as we saw. We've seen what AJ's ability looks like with no oomph, with no go. It's good for nothing. Or sorry, it's only good for beating old men like Pulev. Or dudes who are 300 pounds and can't move their feet like Ruiz. But at the top level, all that bottom line athleticism with no heart and no engine is no good. It's good for nothing. We now know that as a fact. It can't beat the top fighters. Yeah? So let's forget about AJ. If I see Usyk in there, he beats Fury, he beats Dillian White, then you can start getting credit when people are going in there and turning up against him. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's be fair to the sport. Let's be fair to history. You can't give people credit for beating someone, or you can't give people historical credit. Like, oh, he's the best ever. Oh, he's proven he's the best. You can't give historical credit when people aren't doing historical things. How you make, or in my opinion, how you go down in history is when you do things that haven't been done before in history. Beating a man with loads of muscles who weren't even fighting back, that's not a historic feat. That's been done already. If that makes sense. Again, Usyk can only beat what's in front of him. But I'm saying you can't rant and rave about how great the performance was until it's verified. Now, Fury, Dillian White, these names are much more likely to go in there. I mean, I'm being funny. If anything backs up what Johnny Nelson's saying, and in fact, Johnny Nelson himself even uses this as an example. He says, look at Chisora. Chisora shows you how dangerous any man who's a heavyweight putting some effort in. Now, in my opinion, you man know, but even before AJ lost to Usyk, I was already saying, Chisora wasn't all in. Chisora was only given about 50% effort, in my opinion. When you consider how much effort Chisora put in against Dillian White twice. He was 95, 96% all in, maybe even more than that. The Usyk fight, he looked a lot more like his Monaco performance. That Monaco performance, when Derek Chisora basically turned up and just went through the motions. He wasn't as bad as that, but he weren't far off. He wasn't nowhere near on his job like he was against Dillian White. Again, you can't blame Usyk for that. I'm just saying that that's going to be the true test of greatness when you go in there against someone equally as hungry as you. Because we saw how much of a hard night it was for him against a Chisora who doesn't have the best skills or base, doesn't have the best attributes, and he weren't even really that hungry for it. What's going to happen when Usyk goes up against a hungry and attributed and skillful heavyweight? We don't know yet. We haven't seen it. Will we see it against AJ in the rematch? It's up in the air. But what Johnny Nelson's saying is, he's saying he bets if AJ puts 80%, 90% effort in, he's going to win the fight. And that's what I was saying the whole time. I was saying, I can't see how Usyk's going to beat AJ if AJ's in there giving 80, 90%. And my whole base case was, you know what, people, if AJ goes in there and tries to box, I'm confident that he'll realise 3, 4, 5 rounds in that it's not working, and he'll turn the goers on. Where did they get that idea from? The Klitschko fight. I didn't realise how down bad AJ's mentality had got. Clearly he's too soft. No Cialis in him. Because even after getting his head boxed off for 8 rounds, the penny still didn't drop. He still thought he was some boxing wizard. Yeah, AJ and his team thought they was winning the fight. He thought it was a wizard in there. It's mad. It's delusional, but that's the facts. The facts are, AJ and his team thought he was a wizard in there. I've got another video coming soon. One of my insider dons told me that Rob McCrappen said to Eddie Hearn after the fight that, yeah, I think we just nicked that one. I kid you not. Rob McCrappen said to Eddie Hearn at the end of the fight, I think we just nicked that one, didn't we? Wow. Now, it's funny. People say I'm a fanboy, yeah? Listen, if you want to see a fanboy, look at AJ's team. AJ's got a spell over them, man. AJ was getting his ears boxed off, and they thought he was winning. They thought he was nicking the fight, after he was just laying on the ropes, about to be knocked out. What's wrong with people? What spell are they under? Your man's was on the rope, rocking and rolling for his life, and you thought he was winning. And to be honest, their corner advice was just as bad. Or their corner advice implied just as much. Yeah, AJ, last 2 rounds. He's coming for a knockout. He needs a knockout. Just be safe behind the jab. Wow. Now, I'm not sure whether they were trying to save AJ from getting knocked out or they thought they was winning. But, like I said, from the quotes, it sounds like they thought they was winning. It's mad. No doubt. 100%. But anyway, you heard there from your man's Johnny Nelson. And I do concur with that. I believe, and I'm going to stick by it, I believe we see an AJ go in there 80% on his job, going to work. There's a good chance he wins the fight. Bottom line. Or at least, that would be a great thing to do. That then, it's almost like chess. Chess, yeah, is supposed to, or checkers, either way. Both sports, chess and checkers. It's your move, my move, your move, my move. That's how high-level sport's supposed to go. That fight at the weekend, it wasn't me, you. It was Usyk turned up, AJ didn't answer back. What should have happened was Usyk outboxed AJ. AJ answered that by saying, okay, let me get stuck in now. Let me use my advantages. At which point, the onus would have then been on Usyk to show his greatness. That's when you see greatness come out. Yeah? Usyk put his best foot forward. AJ countered with his best foot. And now let's see if Usyk's got that extra level to school an AJ who's on his job marching forward. Because to be fair, I've already said, we've seen Usyk, to be fair, go toe-to-toe with Joe Joyce. So there's no telling. Who knows? Maybe Usyk here has got another gear, which people say he does. People say that even if AJ goes in there and he's sticking to it, Usyk's got another gear to go to, where he's going to school AJ. Maybe Floyd Mayweather style, or maybe even toe-to-toe, just tear him up. That's where the greatness will be, in my opinion. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Maybe AJ hasn't got it in him to take him to that place, which is why I'm talking about other heavyweights now. Because what we know is AJ had 12 rounds to show us an answer, and he didn't have it in him. So for me to sit here now and tell you, don't worry, people, we're going to see how great Usyk is this fight. I can't tell you that. I can say we might. It all depends on AJ, which is again why I keep bringing in other heavyweights. I'm resigned to the idea now that there's a high possibility that we don't get to see how great Usyk is against AJ. It's going to take potentially Dillian Whyte or Tyson Fury to go in there and match USYK's effort. Because at the weekend, we didn't see a match of effort. I saw a man, USYK, giving 80%, and I saw AJ just not really fussed either way. I mean, just look at how USYK bounced back after being hit. Every time he got hit, he bounced straight back. Look how floppy AJ's jab was. Look how floppy his right hand was. I've gone back purposefully this week just to make sure the things I'm saying are back in evidence. I've gone back and watched AJ versus Dillian Whyte and Joseph Parker, and I've seen the spite in his shots, and I've compared it to the USYK fight. Go and watch it yourselves. It's truly, it's amazing to watch. He was fighting like an amateur sparring session. When you compare it to them old days. Them old days, every shot had nasty intentions on it. The weekend, seldomly he threw decent shots. It was almost as if he didn't want to put too much effort in because he didn't want to get countered. Which I'm sure some USYK fans will say, yeah, that's because he was getting countered. I don't know about that. I've seen AJ get countered his whole career. And he bounced back. He don't care. Dillian Whyte hit him clean a few times. Klitschko hit him clean a few times. Didn't bother him. So it's not about AJ being scared to get countered. Or at least it wasn't back then. But like I've been saying for the last few years, has his mind got soft? Has his mind got moist? Has he become McGregor? That's what it's looking like right now. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is Johnny Nelson did make me laugh. He said that USYK is an average southpaw. I'm not sure I'm going to go that far. He's not an average southpaw. Although I wouldn't mind seeing. Let's watch Lewis Ortiz versus USYK. That would be an interesting fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that one day. Or I guess Ortiz is already in his 70s, so it's probably unlikely now. But either way, he's not I wouldn't call it. He's not an average southpaw, but he's mad. Yeah, that's a madness. But anyway, listen. The last thing I'll say is, it is true. Johnny Nelson said that there's a lot of bandwagon dons. And I noticed that. Before the fight, yeah, don't get me wrong. Before the fight, there was maybe 1 in 10 people was riding USYK. So fair play to you, man. But now it's almost flipped. Now, in my chat or in my comment section, 90% of people are bandwagoning USYK. Where was you, man, at? I told you. You didn't tell no one nothing. You was nowhere to be found. And we know this for a fact because the odds had it at 70-30. So that means at best it was 3 in 10. So how is there so many of you mans popping up now? Oops. Yeah? You goofy bandwagon fans. So just make sure, it's a bit like Ruiz. I remember the same thing. When AJ lost to Ruiz, all of a sudden Ruiz was, Ruiz this, Ruiz that. Now, ain't no one checking for Ruiz. So just make sure you man are sure what you're saying. I'm saying it's going to be... you know what I'm saying. I've already said what I'm saying. You, man, are all in on USYK like it's impossible. The same way you was all in on Ruiz. And you know what I'm saying? I had people saying before the Ruiz fight, Ruiz coming in 280. He's coming for power. AJ in trouble. Ruiz coming for power. AJ in trouble. You man are mad. Yeah? You bandwagon dons are the funniest.